Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on something pretty profound. We're going to unpack, well, not just a really foundational analysis of reality, but also a framework, a direct, practical way to understand suffering and ultimately move beyond it. It's a core teaching, I think, that becomes a real cornerstone for many people.
Absolutely. Yeah, what we're digging into today are the Four Noble Truths. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, and Magga. These are really the heart of the Buddha's teachings, right from his very first sermon. And there's this common analogy, like a medical diagnosis. It's actually quite helpful.
Oh, a medical one, yeah.
Right. It helps you see it, you identify the illness, find the cause, see if there's a cure, and then, get the prescription. It's a whole system, not just random thoughts.
That medical analogy really does clarify things, doesn't it? It cuts through potential confusion. So, for you listening, expect, a systematic look. Foundational and hopefully really illuminating. We'll guide you through it. Okay, let's start then. Dukkha, the first truth. Now, it often gets translated just as suffering, but anyone who's looked into this knows there's more to it. So how should we understand dukkha? Like, beyond just simple pain, what else is included?
It's a great starting point. Yeah, dukkha is much broader. Think of it more like disease or stress, unsatisfactoriness maybe, an inherent imperfection in, conditioned existence. The Buddha was specific. Birth is dukkha, aging is dukkha, sickness, death, all dukkha. But also not getting what you really want or having to put up with things you dislike. Even those subtle feelings, restlessness, vague unease, that's also dukkha playing out.
And here's something that always gets me and maybe feels a bit strange at first. Dukkha isn't just the bad stuff. It includes pleasant experiences, too. Is that because even joy, it doesn't last, that inherent unsatisfactoriness?
Exactly. Precisely. Because if you look at the bigger picture, everything that arises and passes away, all conditioned things, that they're impermanent by nature. And we tend to cling, right? We grasp onto these fleeting experiences. So when they inevitably change or vanish, that clinging leads straight to dissatisfaction, to suffering. But this first truth, dukkha, it isn't meant to be depressing. It's more like a clear-eyed, honest diagnosis of the human condition. It just points out the basic instability of it all. So once we have that diagnosis, dukkha, the obvious next question is, why? What's the source? And that brings us right to the second noble truth, Samudaya, the origin of suffering. What did the Buddha identify as the unmistakable root cause here?
Yeah, the texts are really clear on this, aren't they? He pinpointed craving or attachment. The Pali word is tacha, but it's not just like wanting stuff. He broke it down further, didn't he, into three kinds. Craving for sensual pleasures, that's the obvious one, but also craving to become something, for existence itself, and even craving for non-existence, like wanting annihilation or escape. It's surprisingly thorough.
It really is thorough. And this insight, it shifts everything. It means our dissatisfaction, our suffering, it doesn't actually come from the outside events. It comes from our internal reaction to them, fueled by this craving, this thought. So we don't suffer just because we get old. We suffer because we crave not to be old, or we crave to hold on to youth, you see. The situation itself isn't the core problem. It's our resistance, our craving related to it.
Right. So it's this constant thirst, this endless chasing after pleasure and pushing away pain. That's what keeps the whole wheel spinning. The cycle of samsara, birth, death, rebirth. It's the engine, basically.
It fuels the whole process.
Okay, so the first two truths, they can feel a bit heavy, perhaps, a stark diagnosis. But the third truth, Nirodha, this one feels different. It offers real hope. This is the truth about the cessation, the end of suffering. So what does Nirodha actually proclaim? Is it just suffering stopping or more?
It proclaims something incredibly hopeful. Because suffering has a cause. That craving we just talked about, it's not like baked into reality. It's not intrinsic, which means it can end completely. The total cessation of dukkha is possible. And it happens through the complete, utter fading away and eradication of that craving. It's not about being emotionless, but about cutting the root.
And this end state, this cessation, it's not just emptiness, is it? It's the presence of something. This is what we call nirvana, right?
Yeah.
How is that different from just, say, feeling happy or peaceful for a bit?
That's a really important distinction. And some people mistakenly think nirvana is like disappearing, annihilation. It's absolutely not that. Think of it as extinguishing the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion that burn us up. Not extinguishing the self. Nirvana is described as a state of unconditioned peace, liberation. It's beyond that cycle of birth and death. The Buddha himself fully realized it. It's stable, profound, unshakable peace, not just a temporary good mood. Okay, so we have the diagnosis, dukkha, the cause, samudaya, the possibility of a cure, Nirodha. And that leads us logically to the final piece,
Yeah.
the prescription, the fourth noble truth, Magga, the actual path to ending suffering.
Yes, the path. And what's amazing is that the Buddha didn't just diagnose and say, good luck. He laid out a very practical step-by-step way to get there. He called it the Noble Eightfold Path, described it as the middle way he found. So how do these 8 parts fit together? Are they sequential or?
They're deeply interconnected, not really sequential like steps 1, 2, 3. You cultivate them all, more or less simultaneously. They support each other. Let's list them. Right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. It's a really holistic approach. Covers everything.
Right, it touches every part of life. So it seems like it elegantly balances different aspects, like wisdom praja, I think, and ethical conduct, shila, and also mental training, samadhi. It's basically a complete guide for living in a way that naturally steers you away from that craving we talked about and towards liberation. Yeah. Very practical, really. Applicable to anyone.
Exactly. So just to recap the whole framework quickly. Dukkha, the diagnosis that fundamental unsatisfactoriness. Samudaya, the cause our own craving and attachment. Nirodha, the prognosis, the hopeful truth that suffering can cease. And the prescription, the Noble Eightfold Path, showing us how.
And it's so important to remember, these aren't just beliefs to accept blindly, are they? They're presented as truths to be investigated, understood deeply, experienced directly, and actually practiced in day-to-day life. That seems to be the essence of it, personal investigation and transformation, reflecting the Buddha's own journey. So, as a final thought for you to consider, how might really understanding this framework diagnosis, cause, cure, path, maybe shift how you see your own moments of dissatisfaction? Could it open up a different potential for peace in your own life? Maybe reflect on which of these 4 truths, the problem, the cause, the end, or the path, resonates most strongly with your own experience right now. Something to mull over.